Good morning, dear students. As you all know that for a particular character, it is a gene which is responsible in the individual. It so happens gene can exist in more than one form, and thus we call them as alleles. Alleles, when we speak about, we can usually term them as dominant alleles and recessive alleles. But when we speak about the word allele frequency, what is it? Allele frequency refers to how frequently a particular allele appears in a population. Now, let us consider this example. We'll consider the example of the flower color of a pea plant. The flower color of a pea plant might be purple or it might be white. The reason why it is purple is because the gene is having a dominant form, and the reason why the white color is there is because you have a different version of the same gene which is recessive in form, and thereby we can say that if you are representing the if you are representing the color of flower color of the pea plant, let us take it as capital A, the gene, and this if they're existing in two different forms, one is the dominant form and the recessive form. Dominant being always represented as a capital letter, recessive always being represented as a small letter. So now if we have to find out in a particular population as to how many dominant form of the gene we have, it is that we call it as allele frequency. So if I have to find out in a population how many dominant form of the alleles are there, we can usually calculate them by taking a formula. Frequency of allele, capital A, is equal to number of copies of allele, capital A, in population divided by total number of gene copies. Gene copies that includes both dominant and the recessive form in the population. This we call them as allele frequency. Likewise, we can also calculate it for the recessive form of the same particular gene. So in this example, we see that we have around 9 flowers. Of 9 flowers, we see that 7 are purple color and the 2 are white color. Now, the purple color flower is because of what? It is because of the dominant form of the gene. Here, this picture speaks about the dominant form of the gene represented by capital W. And the white color of the flower is mainly because the recessive form, it is being represented by what? A recessive form, meaning to say small letter or small alphabet of W. So now when I try to decide or when we try to calculate the allele frequencies, we usually see that. Okay. Now when we speak about a particular gene, these genes are usually in the form of two forms. So 9 plasmids, I will be having 18 alleles. So of 18 alleles, the alleles which are responsible for the purple color, the alleles which are responsible for what color? Purple color, that is nothing but your capital W. When I try to speak or when we try to count on this, it says of 18 alleles, it is usually the 13 alleles which are responsible for what? The purple color of the flower. So when I see how many alleles are dominant, we calculate them as 13 by 18, which is equal to 72%. Likewise, the remaining alleles in the total population, 18 we have, the remaining alleles in the total population. As I told, it is already for the dominant allele we have 15. So if we are trying to, sorry, it is 13. So if we are trying to find out the allele, the recessive form of the allele, it becomes 18 minus 13, which are nothing but 5. So the frequency of the recessive allele is 5 by 18, which means to say it is around 28%. Now, how do you find, how do you get to know the difference? It's a very easy method, or it is a very easy concept. See, there's a lots of difference between the genotype frequency, phenotype frequency, and allele frequency. What is genotype frequency? It is telling me about the type of alleles present in that particular character, in that particular gene, which is responsible for the character. Now, when I speak about 9 flowers, I will be having how many? I will be having actually 9 genes. In other words, I speak about what I speak about 18 adults. Now, since we are speaking about genotype, let us usually speak about in the form of homozygous and heterozygous. Now, of this 9 flowers, when I speak about the purple color of the flower, which is having the homozygous forms of the gene. What do you mean by homozygous form of the gene? Both the allelic forms are similar. So it is capital W and capital W. So it so happens I have 6 flowers out of 9, which is having capital W and capital W. So this is known as the genotype frequency. So of 9, 6 is completed with a homozygous form. But I also have another purple color flower which is having heterozygous form, meaning to say in that particular gene, I have a combination of the dominant form and the recessive form. So it so happens here, the frequency of this heterozygous form is only 1 out of 9, and thereby that is coming to around 0.11. Of 9 flowers, 7 are purple, the remaining 2 are white. And this 2 are white flowers is mainly because of the combination of genes which are recessive in form, and thereby 2 flowers are white, meaning to say both of them having the homozygous form of what? Recessive one, and thereby out of 9, 2 are what? 2 are usually the white one, and thereby this we call them as genotype frequency. And the next one is phenotype frequency. What is phenotype frequency? The one which is seen as an external appearance for us. So when I see this 9 flowers, 7 are purple, 2 are 9. So frequency of purple is 7 divided by 9 and frequency of white is 2 divided by 9. Now, the last is the allele frequency, which we have just discussed. Wherein now, in the allele frequency, I'm speaking about a single allele present in those particular genes. So, 9 flowers, 18 others. I'm speaking about each of the alleles repeating how many times. So, when I see the allele capital W of 18, we see that 15 of them are capital W, sorry, 13 are of the capital W, but whereas 5 are of what they are of small w. Okay, 13 they are of what capital W and 5 are of what? 5 are of small w. So this is known as allele frequency. Now, allele frequencies usually changes. Why do they change? Many factors are there. The factors such as migration, and then you have non-random mating, then you have natural selection, then you have what mutation, and then you have genetic drift. Now, we need to speak about a specific concept known as genetic drift, where this genetic drift is the one which is trying to bring about random changes in allele frequencies. Genetic drift is usually explained by two concepts, and those concepts we call them as founder effect and bottleneck effect, which plays a very important role in bringing about the change in the allele frequencies.